Call to orders, City of Forest Park, City Council meeting number 1332, March 18, 2019. Let us stand for the pledge, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Clerk, call the roll, please.
Burns.
Here.
Collins. Here. Herbie.
Here.
Holt.
Here.
Johnson.
Here.
Moore. Nuss.
Here.
Is there a motion to excuse, Councilwoman Herbie?
I would move to excuse Councilwoman Moore. Second.
It's been moved and second that we excuse Councilwoman Moore. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to excuse, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Councilwoman Moore's excused. Next item on the agenda, item number 2, is minutes. You all received a copy of the minutes. Are there any corrections or additions to the minutes? Hearing none, the minutes will stand approved as presented. Item number 3 is presentation. We have one presentation, Business of the Month Award, JFK Window and Door. Mr. Paul Brim.
Mayor, members of council, thank you very much. I'm really excited about our March Business of the Month. This is a company that's a longtime Forest Park business with a stellar reputation of providing the very best home improvement products to local residents. They were founded in 1990 by John Carley at JFK Window and Door Company. This is a family-owned business, and as you all know, this is our bread and butter, is our family-owned businesses, that takes pride in their craft and the satisfaction of customers. The expert team at JFK has more than 35 years of installation experience in the greater Cincinnati market. The company is a proud member of the National Association for the Remodeling Industry and the Better Business Bureau. JFK is an Anderson Excellence dealer, complete with a unique showroom. They also provide Previa entry and storm doors at their facility. The mission of their company is to provide customers with an enjoyable and reliable window or door experience. They accomplish this by focusing on the details and catering to each customer's desired specifications. Of course, Anderson Windows and Doors and Previa are the best in the business, providing the security, comfort, and beauty that their products truly are outstanding. JFK even offers free in-home estimates if you're interested. We're truly fortunate to have companies in Forest Park that give back to the community. The team at JFK is no different. They've always taken an active role in our community. And I told her I was going to embarrass her with this, but Office Manager Elise Krause is a typical example of that. I mean, Elise does a tremendous amount of work, most of it behind the scenes, does a great deal with our Forest Park Chamber of Commerce on their board of directors, does a lot in working in the community. She's just wonderful and outstanding resource for us, and we're always fortunate to have those kinds of partners in our business community. So it should come as no surprise that the Economic Development Commission wanted to recognize John, Elise, and the entire team at JFK. If you're looking for someone to improve your home, and they've actually done work for me, you can always be sure to check out the good people at JFK. They do excellent and outstanding work from their facility on Chappelle. And accepting tonight's award is Office Manager Elise Krause. Elise, if you could join us.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
City of Forest Park Business of the Month, JFK Windows and Door Company, in recognition of the company's contribution to the growth and development of the City of Forest Park. Congratulations and thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you, everyone, for presenting us with this award. We're very excited to be a local Forest Park business. Just excited to give back. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity today. for those of you who are here, I have the distinct honor to present this award to someone who is well-known in the community, who has worked with the city of Forest Park for over 30 years. He has a 44-year professional experience in public service and began working in Forest Park roughly in his 10th year of public service. And he's been an example to many, many employees of the city, many residents of the city. It's an honor to work with him and to present to Ray Hodges the key to the city of Forest Park. Ray, if you could step up. Thank you for your service.
Well, I appreciate that. I'll be very brief. I do appreciate the thought that this represents, and I've been here long enough to understand exactly where Forest Park is at, but I'm proud to say I actually think Forest Park is one of the great communities within this country. When you look at what Forest Park is, no, we don't have everything that we would want, but you have to look at what we're working with and appreciate the fact that we're not like any other community. You go throughout this country and find the community with the base that we have, the diversity that we have, and you'll come back to the fact that, no, Forest Park is a very unique community. We have great opportunities ahead of us. We'll have to take advantage of them, and we just have to be realistic with where we're at. But at the same time, we have great opportunities ahead of us. So with that in mind, I just thank you for the opportunity to serve once again. Appreciate it.
Congratulations.
So this is an opportunity for other council members if they have any comments. Are there any council members who might have any comments? Thank you.
We weren't sliding you, Ray. We gave them to you already at your going away party.
Okay. At this time, we would have a motion of Councilwoman Herbie regarding the agenda.
Yes, I would like to move item F to become the motion of the day.
Order of the day.
Order of the day.
Order of the day, sorry.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that item F become the order of the day. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, I believe this is roll call. Okay, would you call a roll, please?
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes,
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Item F then has been approved to become, by a vote of 6-0, to become the order of the day. So we will now move to item F. It's a motion by Councilwoman Holt.
I would like to make a motion to appoint Mr. Bradley, Sherman Bradley, to the Planning Commission for the term expiring 11/30/2020.
second.
It has been moved and seconded that Mr. Sherman Bradley be appointed to the Planning Commission for the term ending 11/30/20. Is there any discussion?
None, thank you.
All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? None. At this point, we will swear in Mr. Bradley.
Thank you.
Would you come and raise your right hand, please? Repeat after me.
Yes, sir.
I, and state
I,
your name,
Sherman Bradley,
do solemnly swear or affirm
do solemnly swear or affirm
that I will support
that I will support
the Constitution
the Constitution
of the United States
of the United States
and the Constitution
and the Constitution
of the State of Ohio,
of the State of Ohio,
the Charter
the Charter
of the City
of the City
of Forest Park, Ohio,
of Forest Park, Ohio,
and that I will faithfully,
that I will faithfully,
honestly,
honestly,
and impartially
and impartially
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
as a member of the Planning Commission.
as a member of the Planning Commission.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
This is for you.
All right, thanks a lot.
Appreciate it, Mr. Bradley. Okay, we will now move to item number 4, communications from the public. And as we always do and state, before we get to item number 4, this is a time where if people, anyone who has to leave may feel free to do so. You don't have to stay, but you can if you want to, but don't think you have to stay here and listen to the rest of the meeting if you don't want to. Smitty, we know you will, but anyone? Then we'll move to item number 4. Item number 4 is communications from the public. This is the time for citizens to comment on matters before council or to ask questions of concern to them. When recognized, please come forward to the podium, give your name and address, and then state your comments or questions. Council meetings are tape recorded for ease of transcriptions. Comments are limited to 5 minutes. Is there anyone to address council? Would you state your name, please, name and address?
Yes, sir. My name is Trevina Adams, and my address is 11414 Odessa Court.
Okay. Okay, Ms. Adams, if you would, go right ahead.
Yes, sir. As I had stated earlier, first let me address the council and say good evening. But as I had stated earlier, I do have some concerns about the community that I live in. During your meeting earlier, I did hear some discussion about not being able to build a recreation center. And though that is not my primary concern, not having a recreation center or the thought that you all have that you cannot build one is a symptom of some of the concerns that I have. I'm really concerned about the management of Forest Park. We recently moved here about 2 years ago. And maybe 3, I think, 2.5, 3 years ago. And now that we're living here, I was so excited about living in the community with respect to everyone else that's in the room. But I was excited to live in a community where people look like I did, that were very diligent about maintaining their property and what have you, because the rumor has always been that you have to move further out to be able to have a nice community and live in a, and your children are able to have a nice place to live. However, my concern, I'm sorry to rant on, but my concern is if we don't build some form of a community center or a rec center, we're going to lose the opportunity to bring in young professional families. Losing the opportunity to bring in young professional families is going to hurt Forest Park. Forest Park is changing. The community is changing. Yes, you're building a school, which I think is great, but there's going to take more than just building a school. There are some things aesthetically that we really need to look at. I keep hearing there's no money, but my taxes are going up in Forest Park. I'm being taxed on my full-time job, my part-time job. My husband's being taxed. And, I'm just wondering, what is it that we can do as a community, as a resident, as a council, as a committee? What can be done to improve the quality of life in Forest Park? Because right now, I'm feeling as if I made a really bad purchase. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for your comments, and the city manager and/or department heads will get back to you. And in doing so, I would ask the city manager and/or the finance office to provide you with. We have a chart that shows where your tax monies go. The monies that you pay in the taxes, where they go. I think there's not I think, I know that there's a misconception quite often that, a belief, I should say, that the tax monies that are collected by Forest Park are all for Forest Park use. That's not the case at all. I think the last figure that I saw on it was we get use of about 8 cents out of every dollar, and that's all. The rest of it goes to, the largest amount of it goes to the school district, and that's something else that I would ask the city manager to make sure he point out. The school district and the city are not the same entity. We are separate governmental entities. We operate independently and separately of each other with the exception of cooperation. So we will make sure that your issues are addressed and that you will be contacted. We don't back away from contacting our residents if they have issues, and we will do that. Mr. Hodges.
Just a couple things. When you mentioned the distribution of money, of course, you were talking about property taxes, and her comment was on income taxes, clearly. Well, the point being, clearly, income taxes, the city receives the income taxes here. So that's all on us, at that point. But nevertheless, the whole issue with the recreation center is one where I point out just one additional example. We're building this new school, and it's a wonderful school, but even at that time, we had an opportunity as a community to include as part of that some kind of recreation concept for the city. No one from the general community came out to push that issue. When you go up to Mason, as an example, and you see the complex that they have, I say that's not totally out of the question. All I'm saying is that school is now built, and it's built for the rest of our lives. No one from the community came out to that school, though they had numerous meetings to push for the concept of maybe we should be doing something jointly, like building on recreational facilities for the community to that school. So now it's, for the most part, it's going to be built, and you're not going to have any community recreational concept that you could have had. Not to say that you had to have, but to say, that's just a concept. That's the closest you would have come to having a recreation center. And you would not have needed much more than that because you already have the meeting rooms, you have the additional parking, you have all that. What you're really missing is the basketball courts and that kind of stuff. So it could have been added on for significantly less money than it would be to build a standalone. That's the one point. The second point, because I was on this earlier, said, now when you think about a recreation center, first question is, if you had the money to build it, where would you build it at? Because you got to have the building, parking, things like that. We've lost some opportunities along the way. So, I'll leave it there, but saying, that's just an example where we had an opportunity that you're not going to see anytime in the near future. But I was really on the point of just making the correction that we do receive most of the income taxes, the city of Forest Park.
Ma'am, it just seems to me that council, and when I say this respectfully, I'm not throwing any bullets at anyone, but possibly council should have been campaigning for the rec center. When people were running for council, people were at Kroger, I saw flyers, I saw banners, I saw all of that. Okay, so now that you're in office, haven't heard anything, haven't seen anything. And yes, sir, you are correct. I am sorry that I did not come to a meeting before now. I knew of the meetings, but I just wasn't sure if the meetings were for me. And I needed to try to figure out what was going on in Forest Park. I was trying to get my bearings, get my feet wet, trying to see what was going on. Now that I know, I'm like, okay, what can we do? woulda, shoulda, coulda, but what can we do now? The promenade is empty, it's an eyesore. A rec center or an arts and cultural center would be great over there. So I don't know what we could do, but the people, this room should be full. I had to call to find out what time the meeting started. The young lady she called me back and she told me what time the meeting started. Then when I got here at 8, it was a different meeting, and that's why I spoke. So the information wasn't there. Where are the newsletters? Where is the information to the community to say, hey, come, see what's going on in your neighborhood? Forest Park is changing from what I understand. The residents are getting younger, so you're losing a lot of that maturity that the mature adults, I don't want to say older, but the mature residents have. You're losing a lot of that. So you're talking about aquatics because you're an older gentleman, but this young man needs a basketball court. He's not worried about aquatics. So if we don't do something soon, and you're saying you're going to be a resident or you are a resident here, this gentleman said he's going to become a resident. If we don't do something soon for the kids, then you don't have to worry about they'll break in your house if they can't go play basketball. It's going to turn into something, we're going to end up in a community that is going to be dead. The image of Forest Park is not the best.
Okay. I don't want to turn this into a debate. I'll just make one last comment and just appreciate the fact that you're here speaking. I think we need your involvement. I think you have some good thoughts, and it would be worthwhile. What I was going to suggest to you is one of the reasons why Forest Park is becoming younger is because more young people are moving to Forest Park. Forest Park is really an old community. There are folks, at least me, they've been here a long time. Folks are coming back to Forest Park. But nevertheless, we need your input, and I think with your input, it will be helpful. Many people come on this council, and some come for one reason. They want the recreation center. That's why they get on council. Now, some have other priorities, but I've seen a number of people come on because they want the recreation center. And I say that because you're not alone with wanting the recreation center. Why wouldn't we want the recreation center? But there are some reasons, that's why I cited a couple of them, just touch bases, that there's not. But we would encourage your continued input. We need more input from the residents and more appreciation of what's going on and more suggestions. So, that's the reason why I said I don't debate it with you. We probably would agree on more points than we would disagree.
I think that we do, and I don't want to debate either. And again, like I said, I want it very respectfully. I want the recreation center. I want the parking to be better. I want to clean up Kroger. I want to get all the trash off the ground. I want to get Pookie and them from hanging off in the corner. I want to get the mattresses off the sidewalks. Yeah, It's not just the rec center, not just the arts and cultural center. I just really want a legacy for my daughter. I want a place that my kids can come and feel safe and feel comfortable. And I want to feel like I made a really good purchase, I want to feel good about where I live. I want to pull on my street, and I want to think to myself, I want to work today so I can come home to this. I don't want to feel like I can go to work today so I can come home to that. Right.
So my last comment is, I doubt seriously if you'd find anybody here that wouldn't want the same thing that you want. So you got to get to the point of, okay, why aren't we where you want to be?
Council over at Kroger passing out flyers. Why aren't there newsletters? Why aren't there robocalls? Why aren't something being sent to the kids at school to say, take this home to your parents? We're having a council meeting tonight. These are going to be some of our issues. Why aren't those things being done?
Right, and those are things that I think with a little more discussion and appreciation, one, you'll find out exactly why, and we'll see how much involvement you'd want to get involved with that at that point.
And I also think, Ms. Adams, that you probably would be a phenomenal fit for some of our committees with some of the comments that you've made. And there are several committees that have some open spaces. So definitely, Sally, when you get in contact with her, please copy me on that, because there's a lot to talk about. And you're absolutely right. We kind of all come with some some hopes, and we want some things that are going to be better. And I'm the youngest person on council with little kids, and so I know exactly what you're talking about. And unfortunately, it's very complicated. Unfortunately, it's sticky, and it's not a clear path at all. It's going to take a lot of brainstorming, a lot of ingenuity, a lot of private sector stuff, along with some other stuff that we can find along the way, even to make something happen. And it's going to be a very consistent, perpetual effort from a good group of people. And so we have yet to have that, unfortunately. But I just want you to know that you are absolutely heard, and I feel exactly the same way in terms of the younger population that we're getting, younger professionals. It is absolutely not at all mimicking or kind of fertile enough to try to retain them for a very long term, and so we are working on it. So please just make sure that I get that email. Thank you.
Okay, anybody else from the public? Seeing no one, we will move next to reports of standing committees. First of these, Ways and Means Committee, Councilwoman Herbie.
I just would remind you that the economic development remarks in the departmental reports highlighting some of the current expansion of Magna Machine and Faxon and some other prospects on a couple of our shopping malls. So,
Any questions for Councilwoman Herbie? Hearing none. Councilwoman Herbie, for the work session of the 25th, I have no items. Do you have any to add?
no, sir.
Next committee reports, Community Development Committee, Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have a report this evening, but if there's any questions, I'll be glad to answer.
Questions for Mr. Barnes? Hearing none. Mr. Barnes, there are no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not. Thank you.
Next committee is Law Committee, Councilwoman Collins.
I do not have a report from the Law Committee at this time. However, I am available for questions.
Any questions for Councilwoman Collins? Hearing none. Councilwoman Collins, there are no items on the agenda for you for the work session of the 25th. Do you have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Next committee is Human Resources Committee, Councilwoman Holt.
I do not have a report tonight. Thank you.
Questions for Councilwoman Holt? Councilwoman Holt, I have no items on the agenda for you. Do you have any to add?
No, I do not.
Next committee is Public Improvement and Facilities. Councilwoman Moore is absent. Does anyone have a report for her? I have no items on the agenda for her for the next meeting. Yeah.
Just that baseball signups are underway right now.
Okay. Do you have any dates on those?
I have no idea.
We'll find out. And I'll have to make sure that's noted. I'm pretty sure it's on the board out here. Next committee report is Public Safety Committee, Councilwoman Nuss.
I don't have a report at this time, but I do have some things to report on programming
Okay.
and Waycross Media. So FCC proposed in-kind rules. What we looked at in our last meeting was basically a synopsis of what's happening when it comes to these proposed in-kind rules and how that's changing things and how we're possibly or potentially see in public education and government, or what we call PEG access in local communities, a devastation when it comes to its funding and ability to take in dollars. So I'm just going to give you a little piece of this. The FCC has proposed rules dealing with so-called in-kind benefits that redefine what it is and is not a franchise fee under Fed law. In 1984, the Cable Act allowed communities to negotiate with cable companies to reach agreements that meet community needs. The FCC's proposed rules would eliminate most of that right and would effectively rewrite that Cable Act. So cable companies are keeping up with, like your providers, Verizon, AT&T, but they don't actually pay a franchise fee, even though they're using that service is being used. So as more and more people are leaving cable, you're seeing this become a larger and larger problem. So FCC's rules propose to allow non-cash items that benefit the public to be charged back against the franchise fee cap. So for our Waycross Media Board programming, that could be a devastating financial loss for us because of the lack of dollars that we would be getting and then still be forced to pay the cable fees. So I'm putting that out there. I would like this also on the work session. We may need to contact some of our local reps just to tell them that, hey, we would like it if you are not in agreement with this legislation. That concludes my report.
Thank you. Any questions for Councilwoman Ness? Mr. Barnes?
I'll try my best.
I actually don't have a question, but more of a comment, because this was an issue that's been brewing this has been an issue that's been brewing for quite some time. And due to the fact that Waycross had to effectively create their own organization several years ago, that is a conglomeration of many communities in which they serve, it's important that every community has a level of advocacy and with one voice, because the people that we're going to have to talk to are in Washington, right? So our senators, our area representatives all need one voice coming from them to them from the Waycross service area. So it would be good for if a Waycross representative comes with an understanding of what that strategy is, so that we can advocate appropriately and not in a splintered fashion.
Sure. Mr. Berquist said as much at our meeting on Wednesday that they have reached out to, I believe it was Shabbat and Portman, that I have my notes right here, but it's going to take a little bit more of a unified push, ask, request on our behalf, and that's kind of where we come in as well.
Okay.
Thank you for that.
Councilwoman Nuss, do you have anything else for us?
I do not.
Thank you. Last committee report, intergovernmental relations and communications. My committee, I have no report. I'll answer any questions if there are any. Next is item number 6, the mayor's report. I have no report, but I do have I was asked to make an announcement. For a number of years, we have, Day Springs Church have had run a basketball program along in conjunction with the police department. Now they are doing they're doing a program. They do it on Tuesdays and Thursdays for high schoolers. Their vans pick the kids up from the high school at the end of the school day and take them over there for activities. And it's a broad range of activities. It's not just sports. They have computer sessions. They have people to assist with homework. A lot of some of the kids come and will just practice their musical instruments or whatever. It's an outreach program by them. Right now, they're probably running somewhere between 14 and 18 students from the high school. They do have some openings still, and they would be they would welcome. The school district is cooperating with this as well, and at some point they're going to be soliciting additional people as tutors or as adults to assist, to volunteer to assist. Hopefully, one of the hopes that they have is that this might, at some point, they may be able to expand this program into at least the middle school. But right now, it's high school only. Tuesdays and Thursdays after school. I think it runs to 6 or 6:30. Okay, that will conclude my report. I'll answer any questions if there are any. Hearing none, the next agenda item, item number 7, City Manager's Report, Mr. Hodges.
Thank you. I'll report only that the departmental reports have all been completed. They've been included in the council packet. They've also been placed on file with the clerk of council for public inspection. That would conclude my report, but I would respond to any questions if there are any.
Any questions for City Manager? Hearing none, we will go to item number 8, other reports. First of those being Mr. John Wyckoff, Solicitor.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Just a couple items. Since the last meeting, I've been I did consult and give an opinion to Lieutenant Adam Pape about some recovered property that appeared to have been abandoned or purposely left behind, and we're proceeding towards a forfeiture on that property. Also, I reviewed and approved the contract the Red, White, and Blue Company has with the City of Forest Park regarding the presentation or production services for the 2019 Jazz in the Park. If there are any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Any questions for Mr. Wyckoff?
I'm sorry, Mr. Wyckoff, could you just say that last thing about the Jazz in the Park?
I'm sorry?
I'm sorry, could you repeat the last part about the Jazz in the Park, please?
Red, White, and Blue is the production company, and so I reviewed their contract.
Is that the same one we had last year?
Yes.
Oh.
Okay, anything else for Mr. Wyckoff? Hearing none, next report is Clerk of Council, Mrs. Dirksen.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I'd like to report that resolution number 07-2019 through 09-2019 were posted as required. And that concludes my report.
Any questions for Clerk of Council? Hearing none, thank you, Ms. Dirksen. I move to item number 9, new business. Is there a motion? Mr. Barnes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move to suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read by title only Resolution 10-2019 through Resolution 12-2019. These resolutions were posted 6 days prior to the meeting.
Second.
Been moved and second that we suspend the rules requiring the reading in full and read by title only resolutions number 10 through 12, 2019. Is there any discussion? Hearing now, would the clerk please call the roll?
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Nuss.
Yes.
Motion to suspend the rules passed 6-0. First item of new business is item A, resolution number 10-2019. Would the clerk please read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 10-2019, delegating authority to make declarations of official intent and allocations with respect to reimbursements of temporary advances during fiscal year 2019 made for capital improvements and acquisitions for street improvements to be made from subsequent borrowings.
Is there a motion? Councilwoman Herbie.
Yes, I would move adoption of resolution number 10-2019.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt resolution 10-2019. Is there discussion? Councilwoman Herbie.
Yes, this is a resolution to allow, we do this from time to time, when we pay for this out of our general fund, and then towards the end of the year, issue anticipation bond anticipation bonds to reimburse the general fund. And so I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, would the clerk please call the roll on 10-2019?
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns.
Yes.
Resolution 10-2019 passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda, item B, resolution number 11-2019. Would the clerk please read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 11-2019, accepting the bid of Alita Inc. Incorporated for the 2019 street program.
Is there a motion? Mr. Burns.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I move for adoption of resolution 11-2019.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we adopt resolution 11-2019. Is there a discussion, Mr. Burns?
Yes, thank you, Mr. Mayor. This resolution covers the curb replacement and repaving of the Corona and Glasgow streets by Alita. They were the lowest bid out of three other companies at a total of roughly $500,000 with 2 alternate bids for the same or lesser amount for other items within the contract. This was the lowest bid. based on the compliance specifications that were in the bid package and followed the standard procedures of the state and in the bidding process. And with that, I would urge adoption of Resolution 11-2019.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll on 11-2019?
Herbie,
Yes.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins.
Yes.
Resolution 11-2019 passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is Resolution 12-2019. Would the clerk please read this resolution by title only?
Resolution number 12-2019, a resolution confirming appointments to the 2019 Hamilton County Tax Incentive Review Council from the City of Forest Park.
Is there a motion, Councilwoman Herbie?
Yes, I would move to approve resolution number 12-2019.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we adopt Resolution 12-2019. Any discussion? Councilwoman Herbie.
Yes, this is an annual appointment to the Tax Incentive Review Commission, and that typically is our Economic Development Director and the EDC liaison. And I would urge adoption of this resolution.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, the clerk please call the roll on Resolution 12-2019.
Holt,
Yes.
Johnson,
Yes.
Nuss,
Yes.
Burns,
Yes.
Collins,
Yes.
Herbie.
Yes.
Resolution 12-2019 passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda, item D is a motion. Councilwoman Nuss.
Yes, a motion to reappoint myself, Ms. Chelsea Nuss. Can I do that? And Mr. Stephen Cottle from Forest Park, and to concur with the reappointment of Mr. Joe Orndorff as board chairman, all to the Community Programming Board Regional Council of Governments and the CPB Holdings Incorporated Board for the terms expiring 3/31/21.
Second.
Been moved and seconded that we reappoint Councilwoman Nuss and Mr. Stephen Cottle from Forest Park and concur with the reappointment of Mr. Joe Orndorff as board chair to the Community Program Board, Regional Council of Governments, and CPB Holdings, Inc., with the term expiring 3/31/21. Is there a discussion?
Just briefly, the following folks, or the previous folks that I mentioned, their board membership comes up on March 31st, and so through the CPB Holdings Incorporated, we did receive a letter that all of those individuals were wanting to extend their board membership. I'll take
Okay.
any questions if there are any.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
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 Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is item E. A motion is, that would be Councilwoman Collins.
I motion to direct the Clerk of Council to notify the Ohio Department of Liquor Control that the City of Forest Park does not request a hearing regarding a liquor license request for Forest Park Spring Hill SSA LLC DBA Spring Hill Suites, 12001 Chase Plaza, Forest Park, Ohio 45240, for a D5A permit.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that we direct the clerk of council that we do not request a hearing on the request by Spring Hill for a D5A permit. Is there any discussion?
Yes. The police department reports that regarding an application for a liquor permit, the Ohio Liquor Control Board has requested a background check on the applicant, Naresh Kumar, Spring Hill Suites by Marriott. The police record check revealed nothing of a criminal nature. The police chief spoke to Mr. Kumar by telephone, and he indicated that that the intended purpose of the permit was to be able to provide alcoholic beverages for purchase to guests from a small store area at the front desk. The permit would be for a D5A permit, which is for hotels and motels with 50 or more rooms, and is otherwise the same as a D5 license, allowing for spirituous liquor for on-premise consumption only, beer, wine, and mixed beverages for on-premises or off premises in original sealed containers until 2:30 a.m. The police department has no objections at this time regarding this permit. We recommend that council direct the clerk of council to notify the Ohio Department of Liquor Control that the City of Forest Park does not request a hearing regarding the subject liquor license request.
Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Nay.
Let the record show that the motion passes 5-1. Next item on the agenda is item G.
Isn't it 6-1? Oh, 5.
Item G, a motion, Councilwoman Holt.
I would like to make a motion to reappoint Mr. Fendrick Clark to the Environmental Awareness Board of Directors for the term expiring 11/30/21.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we approve the appointment of Mr. Fenwick Clark to the Environmental Awareness Board of Directors for a term expiring 11/30/21. Any discussion?
None, thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda is item H, a motion, Councilwoman Holt.
I would like to make a motion to accept the resignation of Jessica Miranda from the Economic Development Committee for a term expiring 11/30/2019.
Second.
It's been moved and second that we pass a motion to accept the resignation of Jessica Miranda from the Economic Development Commission, with the term expiring 11/30/19. Any discussion?
None, thank you.
Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passes 6-0. Next item on the agenda, item I, a motion, Councilwoman Herbie.
Yes, I would move to receive the general fund summary report as contained in the departmental reports.
Second.
Been moved and second that we receive the general fund summary report as contained in the departmental report. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor of the motion, let it be known by the sign of voting aye.
Aye.
Opposed? The motion passes 6-0. Is there any further business to come before the body? Any further business to come before the body? Hearing none. The meeting is adjourned.